The first thing the girl did after she was reborn was to dig up the graves of her parents with her own hands. Looking at the burned bodies of her parents, she finally knew they had only faked their death, because in her past life after her parents suddenly died, they left behind her 3-year-old brother. She had no choice but to quit school and work to support the family. She worked herself to the bone for 15 years, and finally raised her brother into the top scorer in the college exams. But she never thought that on the very day of his celebration, she would suddenly see her parents who had been dead for 15 years, walking in arm with a strange girl. As they entered the hall, she ran over in disbelief, wanting to reunite with them, but at her mother's order, the bodyguards beat her to death, and the brother she had raised since childhood just stood by and watched coldly. He said with no feeling that he did not need a sister from the countryside who would ruin his future, and told her to die in peace. Then the scheming girl said, only if she was dead would no one find out that they had switched places. It was only at her last breath that she learned that she had actually been the real daughter of a wealthy family, and back then her parents, in order to live a good life with their real daughter in the city, chose to fake their death and abandon her brother as a burden. But now that her brother was successful, they rushed back to take the credit. In the end, the girl closed her eyes in regret and unwillingness. When she opened them again, she was reborn, back on the day of her parents' funeral, remembering all the misery from her past life. She did not hesitate and dug up her parents' graves, staring at the blackened bodies in the coffin. She was stunned. She never thought her parents had prepared in advance just to fake their death. Hearing the noise, the villagers quickly rushed over and scolded her for being unfilial, for digging up her parents' grave. But facing their accusations, the girl suddenly dropped to her knees right in front of the village chief, saying her parents died too suddenly, and she only wanted to see them one last time. Besides, the chief had clearly told her that her parents died from falling at the construction site, but these bodies were clearly burned. Could there be some secret behind all this? The chief froze when he heard that, and quickly explained that he remembered wrong. Her parents had indeed died in a fire, but that was exactly what the girl was waiting for him to say. Since her parents died in a fire at the site, where did the compensation money go? The chief was completely stunned at that, because before her parents left, they had never mentioned any compensation at all. To keep the secret from being exposed, the chief tried to calm the girl down, while secretly calling her parents in the city. A few minutes later, the chief quickly came back with good news. The construction site was willing to give her 5,000 yuan, and as the village chief, he would pay the money up front for them. Before leaving, the chief reminded her to take good care of her brother and never stir up trouble again. The girl was not surprised by how generous her parents were, because their real daughter was the daughter of a tycoon, so this little money to him was nothing at all. After finishing her parents' funeral, she carried her little brother on her back and soon set off for the city. Since her parents trusted her so much, they even faked their death just to leave her in charge of her brother. Then in this life, the girl swore she would prepare a surprise for them. Over the next 15 years, she gave everything she had to raise her brother. Under her careful guidance, her brother unsurprisingly once again became the top scorer in the exams. When the results were announced, their house was immediately surrounded by reporters. Watching her brother speak confidently on TV, she believed it would not be long before her parents came back to life. A few days later, she held a celebration banquet for her brother, and he excitedly invited her to the stage. The villagers who saw this all praised her loudly, saying that everything he achieved was thanks to her effort. If their late parents could see this, they would be so happy. But the next second, the doors of the banquet hall suddenly opened, and walking straight in were her parents who had been dead for 15 years.